3, 2, 1. Shit's about to get real. All right, come on, Derek. Let's go.
With our guest, the host of PokerSesh, beloved figure on Twitch. Why? Well, because he tells it like it is. He's outspoken, opinionated, and he's a real character, folks. Founder of the Infinite Stacks Poker Tour. He plays regularly in the 10-20 games in Los Angeles, both No Limit Hold'em and Pot Limit Omaha. He prefers PLO. We're going to ask him about that in a second. And he also commentates for Live at the Bike. Abe Limon, our guest tonight. Limon, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being a high roller tonight.
Oh, thank you very much, Derek. I mean, I'm a high roller in spirit only.
Beer and cigars, a regular thing for you?
Beer and cigars are what I do when I'm not playing poker or golf. I mean, basically, all I do is play golf, play poker, drink beer, smoke cigars.
You're living the dream, man. Golf, poker, cigars, beer, that's living the dream.
You know, I basically can't complain. I'm a professional poker player, professional gambler for a very, very long time. I don't play bigger than I can afford. I don't play goofy fucking tournaments and waste my time. Online tournaments are fine, but I don't waste my time driving around to live tournaments. And if you're willing to, think of it this way: to do what I do is very, very inexpensive. Because I set up this goal. Like I wanna drink beer, smoke cigars, play golf, play poker, and eat. Basically, eat steaks, a lot of steaks. I like to cook now. So basically, that was my goal in life, And what I realized was, wow, to do that shit is very cheap. To live a life that is exceptionally comfortable for yourself, once you know what you really like in life, is much less expensive than you think. Because I was thinking I'm going to need to work my way up to play high roller tournaments, and I'm going to play 100, 200 with the best players in the world. And then I'm like, what? Why? Everything I ever wanted, everything I dreamed of as a young adult is basically available, like showing up to play mid-stakes poker a few hours a week.
Well, listen, I mentioned you playing Hold'em and PLO off the top there. Can you describe for our listeners the Los Angeles poker scene? I mean, I played a lot at the Commerce. My sister lives in Mission Viejo, Orange County, so when I get down there, I always pop by the Commerce. There's a ton of action, and of course, the Bike is just down the street. I mean, it's a poker player's dream there, isn't it?
Well, here's what, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Los Angeles is the poker capital of the world. It's the poker capital of the world, and it's not close. It's not even close. There is no second place. It's Los Angeles, like, way the fuck up here, and then maybe, like, private games in New York City, and then, like, Vegas, like, down here. People think, like, oh, Vegas. No, fuck Vegas. Your average Vegas regular is broke, dude. Vegas is a very, very poor city. This is what people don't understand. Now, you have rich people coming in, but Vegas is a very poor city. So day in and day out, you can't get anything near the type of poker you get in Los Angeles and Las Vegas. Now, New York is also a rich city, so you're going to have big games, but they're private games, so they're, you got to work a little harder to get into them. In Los Angeles, you can just basically wander into any casino, find any game at any stakes you like, and gamble it up.
And as you mentioned, there's a bit more money there, so the games would be looser, and that's what a cash game professional wants, right? A good player wants those loose games with lots of action.
Well, yeah, Los Angeles is a rich city, and the other thing about Los Angeles is Los Angeles has a poker culture. It has a poker culture that's ingrained in the DNA of the city, going all the way back to the clubs in Gardena, 30, 40 years ago. Los Angeles has always been a poker city, and because we have so many immigrants in Los Angeles, basically Armenians, Chinese, Koreans, Vietnamese, and a lot of Judaism. I know there's a lot of gambling in these cultures, and because they are cultures that are ownership cultures, where you own a convenience store, you own a restaurant, you own some business that your family works in. These are cash cultures. So the amount of cash that just rolls into LA casinos is sort of beyond belief. The amount of crumpled up stacks of $100 bills that get pulled out in a Los Angeles casino is unlike anywhere else in the world. And it's because we have a poker culture, we have an immigrant culture, and we have a huge cash culture in Los Angeles.
Well, there's a great article on you in Bluff Magazine where you explain
It was great. I agree.
why you prefer PLO. Now, I know you're crushing the games, both No Limit Hold'em and PLO, but you say Pot Limit Omaha is a game of draws, and that makes it very psychological. Can you explain?
Let me be honest. I wouldn't say that I'm crushing No Limit Hold'em. I don't even play No Limit Hold'em hardly at all. I'm a very good No Limit Hold'em player, obviously. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, I played it for a decade. But nowadays, I think No Limit Hold'em is a lot of times not the best game in the casino because of the fact that too many players have sort of figured out that you buy in short, you play tight up front, you play loose in the back, and you basically are a break-even player who can eat free steak and eggs and watch TV. That type of player, and the reason why you can do that in No Limit Hold'em is because I got calls coming in. I'm sorry, guys. I can't answer the calls from the unknown numbers. If you call in from an unknown number, I can't answer because it'll kick Derek Oliver off. You have to call in from a known number. Very, very sorry. I'm not kicking Derek Oliver off the fucking phone. This guy is a genius. This guy is famous. This guy fucking owns his own radio station. This guy fucking talks to the best and the brightest. Thousands of Twitter followers. You think I'm kicking him off the phone? Come on, audience, wake up. So anyway, yeah, don't embarrass me, PokerSesh audience. It's a very fucking important interview I'm doing here. Stop trying to embarrass me. So anyway, in Hold'em you get dealt hands. Aces is a hand. Like, if I just got dealt aces for the rest of my life, I'd have a bunch of money that I couldn't spend, basically, because I've already got more money than I can spend. But if you just got dealt aces or kings for the rest of your life, it's an easy game. Because you can get dealt hands in Hold'em. Omaha is completely different. If you just got dealt aces or kings in Omaha, you'd still be a winner if you could figure out how to play them. But if you can't figure out how to play them, you're going to be a loser in the game. I mean, there's really no way to misplay aces and kings in Omaha. People are going to say, oh, yes, you can. But really, you can't. Even a monkey, if he just said, I'm going to the river every time with aces and kings, he's going to make money. But in Omaha, if that's your plan, you're going to lose a ton of money. So in Omaha, because you only get dealt draws, and there's just better and worse draws, and draws are exceptionally hard to play out of position, Omaha is a completely different animal. It's like you got the flop, and that's one hand of poker. You got the turn, and that's another hand of poker. And you got the river, and that's another hand of poker. Because you can't just say, like, disengage brain, engage arm. You can't do that.
Well, let me ask you this, Limon. Given your personality, I assume that you're very talkative at the poker table, not only to keep the game fun, but probably for strategy as well. But given your personality, I take it the cash games that you sit in must at some point become very lively and very action-packed.
Oh, yeah. I'm a lively guy. I don't do it for strategy. I do it because it's my personality. I never advise, like, you see people saying, like, oh, you gotta do this or you gotta do that at a poker table. No, you don't have to do anything. You can be yourself. You just can't be a fucking douche, okay? You can be yourself. But you can't just throw on the fucking hoodie and the fucking headphones and the dark glasses and think that you're going to make a living playing poker. Because you're not. You're not going to get in good games. People aren't going to give you action. You're going to miss a lot of the things that make live poker profitable. Like, live poker is perfect poker. You have to play perfect poker. And here's the reason why. You see so few hands. So few hands. You see so few hands that you can't afford to go into basically like GTO mode, if anyone could possibly do that, what they can. But basically autopilot. Let me explain it like this, Derek. If they offered Rochambeau at the casino, rock, scissors, paper,
right?
You could throw on your headphones, you could throw on your dark glasses and your hoodie, your backpack, come rolling in flip-flops and designer jeans, basically the douche pro uniform. You could have the iPad out, full douche pro uniform, and you could throw 1/3 rock, 1/3 scissor, 1/3 paper, game theory optimal. You'd make a little money. setting, you just can't come in and play an optimal strategy. You have to play an exploitive strategy. You have to exploit your opponents. And if you're not paying attention to what's going on, you cannot exploit your opponents. You have to know what they're up to. So the guy who would win at the rock, scissors, paper is the guy who paid attention. The guy who didn't have the hoodie and the earphones and the dark glasses and the fucking whole thing going on. Be the guy who's like sort of chilling with all the rock, scissors, paper regulars, hearing their idiotic strategies. Like, if you know anything about poker, live poker, you know that what people tell you in a live setting is basically the same as them telling you, well, I just throw rock every time first. They basically just come out and say it. And then you'd be like, okay, I'm going to throw paper every time first, you know? Like, the shit that people tell you about how they play, what they think of other players, all of that stuff will help you play perfect poker.
You have to pay attention, and you bring up a very good point. And on that note, we mentioned that article in Bluff. It was on Poker Tells, and I loved one of the quotes that you had. You said, some guys just can't learn tells for the same reason they can't tell a girl likes them. I mean, I love that.
A lot of poker players who are basically socially inept. They're basically on the spectrum. They're Aspergery. Some of them, like people I used to work with, are basically like functioning sociopaths. They can mimic the way a human should act, but they don't know the way a human should act. So because of that, they can't really get into the whole tells game, which is fine. It's fine. I can't get into some things about crunching fucking poker stove numbers, you know? That isn't my thing. It's not. If you are basically Asperger's, functioning sociopath, you can. What is that called? What all this shit? Somewhere on the spectrum, you can still win at live poker, but don't act like a douche. At least be present. Be present.
Your thoughts on the 2015 World Series of Poker? I guess the good, the bad, and the ugly.
You know, I mean, I don't have a lot of thoughts on it, to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm not into poker tournaments. I think poker tournaments are bad for the poker economy.
Explain that.
Okay, there was a time when a poker tournament basically lasted one day. The only poker tournament that lasted longer than one day was the main event. And, I mean, there might have been a couple others. The main event, just the main event of every big poker series. And what would happen is, when people would go in to play the tournament, they would bust out and they would come out and play the cash games. And so tournaments brought great cash games. And they brought a lot of cash game players because there really wasn't anything as a tournament player, okay? But now, with the modern, and even then tournaments were bad, even then. And the reason why is because when all of the money basically goes to like the top two spots, dudes start spending money on shit other than poker, okay? So money leaves the poker economy. If you go and you play, if you're a recreational player and you go and play cash games every day, you're never going to win more than one or two buy-ins. It'll be like a dream day. You win 2 buy-ins, 3 buy-ins, fucking cream dream day. All your gut shots come in. Your favorite hand hits 2 pair every time. Oh, I played Jack 4 suited 4 times. I made 2 pair every time. Whatever. None of that money, none of it is leaving the poker economy. Not one fucking dollar of it. It's all staying in the poker economy because it's only enough to play again the next day. All right? But when you win 500 or 1,000 buy-ins, tons of money leaves the poker economy. Even the biggest degen moron is at least going to fucking Spearmint Rhino and spending $10,000 on his idiot friends getting strippers. They're going out for sushi dinner. They're fucking buying sake. They're paying off the car. They're paying back all the backers they've stiffed who are going to punch them in the freaking face. I mean, it just drains a lot of money out of the poker economy, the top-heavy structure. It's the same as, like, basically jackpots drain tons of money out of the poker economy, whereas cash games don't drain any money out of the poker economy. All of the money stays for the professionals, okay? That's number one. In the old days, by old days I'm talking like 2002, 2000, up to maybe 2004, the way tournaments were set up was they were basically Ironmans. Every tournament was basically set up as an Ironman. And when you busted out, you had to go to the cash games. Now, what the fish figured out is, and the fish figured this out on their own. I'm going to take a puff of cigar, by the way. What the fish figured out on the road was, wow, when I bust out of this tournament and I go to the cash game, I'm getting my ass handed to me. These guys just fucking eating me up. So what the fish always wanted is longer fucking levels, deeper stacks. Basically what they want is a cash game away from cash game pros. They want to like sequester themselves away from cash game pros. And then the other thing they added in after that was like multiple day ones. So you got and multiple, what are they called, flights. So you got day 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, day 23F, day 43R. It all feeds into this fucking nonsense that the rec players never have to leave the tournament area, okay? Now, here's a couple points, very, very important points. Number one, the casinos do not like this. This is an urban myth or a common misnomer that casinos make money off of tournaments. They do not make money off of tournaments. The World Series of Poker makes money. It's probably the only fucking tournament series in the world that makes money. All the rest struggle to break even because the rake in tournaments, as much as tournament dogs bitch about it, is microscopic compared to the rake in a cash game. If you pay your whatever, if you're playing like a $5.50, you pay your $50 rake and play 4 days. If you play 4 days in a cash game, you pay $600 rake. I mean, it's not even the same planet, okay? So the tournaments, like, and we even got all the tournament directors now. You know, all the big tournament directors are saying the same thing. Like, we have to do something about these tournaments because the casinos barely want them. Yes, it bumps up your cash game action for the short period of time the tournament's there, but it actually has dried up the cash game action over time. In Los Angeles, in 2001, 2002, there were white chip limit games at the Bicycle Casino. Now, if you see a white chip, you're like, what denomination chip is that? I haven't seen it in play in so long. You know, basically only my game plays white chips. And it's because all of the guys that used to come and play in the cash games just stay in the tournament room. They play level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, level 7, level 8. They never fucking leave the cash game, man. It's very, very bad if you're a professional poker player. I'm telling you that right now.
These are very interesting points and things that, you know, the ordinary person, like, these are things that I don't necessarily think about, but they make a lot of sense. How many cash game players out there in your area, for instance, are world-class stature that guys would never ever hear about? They don't ever get on TV, and yet if you give them a chance, they just take down anybody. I mean, there's a lot of sharks out there, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not like, I wouldn't say it's in the hundreds, even in Los Angeles, the poker capital of the world. I'd say it's in the dozen range, maybe 2 dozen. Most of the guys who sort of live the life that I live, basically, you're not gonna be a fucking famous tournament poker player. You're not gonna fucking be Daniel Negreanu. You're not gonna fucking be on TV or whatever. But you make a good living playing poker every day. Most of them are sort of like mixed game type players. They don't play the games that you think that where you would find them. You think like, I'm gonna find the biggest fucking baller player in Los Angeles, and you go to like the 2040 no limit, 2040 or 2550 no limit hold'em game where everybody's sitting like 20K deep or something. That's not where you're gonna find those guys. The place you're gonna find those guys is in like the deuce, is like the whatever that guy's name, Nick Schulman guy over there. That you're gonna find him in the Kansas City lowball game. You're gonna find them in the 100-200 stud game. You're gonna find them in the Badesi mix game. You're gonna find them as the prop master at some casino where they play every game. You're gonna find them as the host at some casino where they play basically every game in the top section. Those are the guys that really make the money in live poker. It's sort of, the rounder type that just knows how to play a lot of games, always finds the softest games, and is well liked. Somebody saves a seat for them. The floor man always fucking locks up a seat for them, and they're just one of the guys, except they're one of the guys that doesn't lose.
The other end of the spectrum, Lyman, tournament poker, the guy who always gets the money, Helmuth, gets number 14, another bracelet, this time in Raz. I mean, what do you make of him?
Listen, I mean, I don't know anything about the guy. I can say what people say who've played with him in the mixed games at Commerce, like real tough professionals. If he gets on the board, a game starts. A game will form around him. I don't know what that means, but he might have a special talent for tournament poker. Although, I mean, listen to this. Listen to this, Derek, my friend. If you even go look at some great tournament poker players, if you go to the Hen and Mob database and you look at their ROI in just tournaments cashed, so you're looking at their ROI in just tournaments they cashed. Some of the best tournament poker players in the world, according to the media, because you never get to see what their buy-ins are. You know, it's a classic question. But how much did you lose? You never get to see what. But if you did, you could only see what they cashed in. But if you look at their ROI in just the tournaments they cashed, it'll be like 300%. If your ROI in just tournaments you cash is 300%, you can't really realistically be a winning player because you're only cashing at best 15, 17, 20% of the time. I mean, maybe there's like savants out there that can cash 25% of the time. So all you got to do is like sort of the simple math. If the numbers are large enough, you know, it's hard to. The problem with poker is you know, the numbers are so big that to get into the long run takes so much fucking. But the numbers for some of these guys who've been playing professional tournament poker since 2004, the numbers for them are very large. And if you look at these sort of like basic truths, you say to yourself, wow, this guy can't be a winning player. He doesn't make enough money in the tournaments that he cashes to cover the fact that he only cashes at best maybe 20% of the time. And of course, there's a lot of other things you can look at too, like they just don't play cash games, you only see them when they're sponsored, yada, yada, yada. There's a million other reasons. Best tournament in the guys in the world, on staking deals, they got fucking 10% of themselves. It comes out later when they stiff somebody. I mean, the best tournament players in the world, the list of the best tournament players in the world basically switches every 5 years. It's very hard to find a through line. And the dudes who are on that through line, the Helmuths, the Negranus, the Ivies of the world, those guys make so much fucking money off of their sponsorship deals, they don't ever have to win again. Like, look at Negranu. Negranu will enter a 10K with multi-rebuys and put his first 4 rebuys in blind. He doesn't give a fuck about the money because the money's all taken care of. He only cares about the fame because the fame leads to more money. All right? So a lot of these guys are just, I mean, when you see him do that, the Negranu buy a stack strategy, well, you can't fucking buy a stack. If you could, lots of good players would use that strategy. It's the Negranu win a tournament strategy at any cost because the fame is what pays the bills. Poker does not pay the bills. It's the fame that pays the bills.
Speaking of fame, with the advent of Twitch, you know, the WSOP live streams, the EPT live streams, live at the bike, you know, comes a whole new audience, right? This is great for poker fans. I mean, you have to love Twitch poker.
I mean, it's fine. I'm on it right now. You know, basically for me, everybody in the chat, everybody who knows me. I mean, I just went out, like this weekend, I just went out with some guys from Australia. We just fucking went and painted the town red. Basically, I'll party with anybody. I'll hang out with anybody. I like to have a good time. I like to drink and smoke cigars with my fucking bros, all right? And that includes the PokerSesh audience. So I've been doing this shit for a long time. And I figure, like, why not do a podcast about it, you know? If I'm gonna drink beers and smoke cigars and I'm sitting at a poker table, by the way. You probably can't see it, but I got a poker table in my house. I used to host games. I'm a personable guy. I like people. I figure, like, why not just fucking stream it, you know? I mean, why not? It gives me something to do. So this is just me. It's just me. I know that my partners at Live at the Bike can't handle 100% of me, but it's just me. It is what it is.
Opinionated, a character, he's living the dream, and you got to check out PokerSesh on Twitch Poker. Lyman, thank you very much, man.
Thanks, Derek. You're a gem.